name is Kayla Chegan. I am in my final semester of university studying a Bachelor of Primary Education. I am eager to finish. I am excited to finish and eager to make my way into my graduate teaching year. This video will reflect upon what I have learned from my teaching in schools and at university on and off campus. I will also be addressing the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers, which I will be referring to in this video as APSL. I will be talking about how I feel that I have met these standards using examples from my past teaching experiences. Firstly, through assignment tasks, tutorials and lectures, I have been able to research a range of different theories and teaching approaches which have influenced my ideas and teaching pedagogy. My pedagogical views relate mostly with Maslow's theory of education and Dewey's theory of education. Maslow's theory talks about the hierarchy of needs, addressing the physiological, safety, feeling of belonging, and self-esteem needs before any learning is to be started. This relates to me because as a teacher, I believe it is important to create a safe learning environment where everyone feels comfortable in expressing their ideas. I also think that there is more to a teacher's role than just being an educator. It is important to know students and their needs in order for the students to be able to learn to the best of their ability. Dewey's theory has helped shape my views of teaching through the fact that he believes learning is the process whereby knowledge is created through the transformation of experience. This theory influences my lesson planning, as I ensure when creating my lessons that they will be engaging and include hands-on activities, giving students the opportunity to learn through their own experience. And it can also show what the students know and can do, rather than students learning the traditional way with the teacher upfront feeding them information. I also try my best to incorporate ICT into my lessons, as I think technology is a tool which should be utilised across all subjects. ICT is also very useful to engage students. I hope the examples I'm about to share with you can help to add to my pedagogical practice as a teacher. Looking at the APSL standards, there are three headings: professional knowledge, professional practice, and professional engagement. I will begin with the substrand 1.2, understand how students learn, under the heading of professional knowledge. Through research and my teaching in schools, I have had the opportunity to practice my classroom management skills and build a rapport with the students within the classroom in order to understand the way that they learn. In my placement class this year, there are 29 students, and for them to learn effectively, I give them the chance to discuss with each other on the floor their thoughts, instead of listening to me feed them information, because unfortunately there will always be one or two students which will not be engaged when I am up the front talking, as they are a very large class. I must say it has been a difficult task to incorporate lessons which link to all 29 of their learning abilities, but I have tried my best to do so. In the class, there are a lot of visual learners, and to adhere to their visual needs, I find myself making PowerPoints with pictures and interactive activities, which allow them to use these skills that they have. There are also a lot of students who are kinesthetic learners, which means that they learn through doing. The use of hands-on materials are an important focus when planning my lessons. For example, in mathematics, the use of manipulatives such as MAB blocks, counters, and building blocks are useful for these students. This also aligns with Dewey's theory of learning through doing, which I strongly agree with. At university, I have been introduced to a whole range of manipulative tools, which I can use when I am teaching, and I have utilised some of them within my placement class. I planned a math lesson on volume using cubic centimetre blocks as the manipulative. I asked the students to build a 3D object using the blocks. I then asked them to measure its volume. I hoped that them seeing the three dimensions that their 3D shapes have would help them to see the difference between a 2D shape and a 3D shape. I will now talk about my second ACES Standard 3.2, Planned Structure and Sequence Learning Programs, which is described as planned lesson sequences using knowledge of student learning, content, and effective teaching strategies. I have produced individually and in teams a unit planner for humanities, science, and literacy. For these planners, I have used several approaches in regards to the way that the lessons are sequenced. For most subjects, I usually base my lesson structure upon what the students already know and start from there. And then each lesson will build upon each other, with the last lesson being an activity where the students need to show what they understood from the lessons. I also use Boswell's and the Victorian curriculum stem. They are essential when producing and planning my lessons. They must be addressed, and I often include them in my learning intention and success criteria, which I will always try my best to write on the board before the lesson starts. For the science plan, talking about the science plan in particular, my partner and I use the 5E model to sequence our plan of lessons on the topic of heat for level 3. The sequence followed the 5E model, which is engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate, which led to the very first couple of lessons being hands-on and experimental, the middle lessons to be more finding out the information and discussing that information, and the last lessons to show what they have learned through creating a song as a group on heat. Sequencing the lessons around the 5E model had a positive impact on the lessons, and the students valued the time they were given to do their own exploring on different types of ways that heat can be produced. Lastly, I also think asking students about their interests is very helpful in planning lessons. For example, in literacy, asking them what they like to write about is very useful and effective tool, as adding to the lesson what students prefer to write about can help to engage them. I did this when planning my literacy unit. I asked the students to write down what they like to write about and what their interests are, and I tried to incorporate that into the unit planner. I also think it can help make students feel important and that they have a say in their own learning, which can hopefully lead to them feeling safe in the classroom, which addresses one of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Lastly, from heading 3, professional engagement, standard 6.3, engage with colleagues and improve practice, is described as seek and apply constructive feedback from supervisors and graduate teachers to improve teaching practices. The school I am placed at this year as a whole has a big focus on improving their mathematical outcomes from tests such as NAPLAN. Therefore, in teams, they are working on providing better ways to teach mathematics, which I have been observing and taking in as a pre-service teacher. For both my major placement schools, my mentors have always given me feedback on my lessons. When receiving feedback from my mentors, I receive positive and constructive feedback. I do not see constructive feedback as negative. Instead, I see it as a positive because it gives me the skills I need to work on in order to be the best teacher that I can be. Also, to gain extra experience, I visit my placement school once a week and teach the class for 2 hours. I find this helpful because I feel that each week I am improving and my skills are becoming stronger as I return each week. Conversations I have between my mentors and I about the areas of my lessons that the kids were not engaged and were not focused. And we talk about how I can improve on this. When my lessons are not engaging and the students are not focused, this makes me think about my teaching philosophy and how I have not fulfilled my own teaching standards. It is important for me to stand by my philosophy and produce lessons which are linked to that. I need to ensure that my lessons are engaging and interesting and use hands-on activities. When I think about the type of teacher I want to be, I think about not only these theories which come with the research of professional teaching strategies, but the type of teacher I would like to have. I think a successful teacher is friendly and understandable, creates engaging and exciting lessons, is is an enthusiastic leader and never thinks that their own learning has reached its own capacity. They should also be willing to take on new ideas and explore different avenues. Thank you for listening, and I hope this helps to shape my pedagogical